Well, what do we have here? The name is Sheldon, friendos, and I'm what you might call a Raider King. This is my home. I and my crew built it with our own 2 hands from the ground up. Sure, it used to be a farm, and we stole it from whoever lived here before, and we slaughtered them and accidentally killed their cat. No big deal. Don't be such a baby. We eat worse things than cats out here. Besides, this city is soon to be the raider capital of the wasteland. You mark my words. Yep, we're a real up-and-coming marvel of the Commonwealth. We'll be twice the size of Diamond City in a few years. You just wait and see, buddy boy. We got it all. Running rainwater, we grow potatoes out back, we have mystery stew on Wednesdays. Oh, and I almost forgot, my best friend and companion through it all, Pet Cricket. He's a devious little bastard, best you not make eye contact with him. Yep, we've put a lot of work into this place and into becoming one of the most prominent raider gangs this side of the Commonwealth, but between you and I, that ain't big enough for me. But there's so many more things to steal and so many more people to kill. And that's exactly why I and Pet Cricket, as well as our unnamed raider companion, are going to be setting out on yet another adventure to conquer the Commonwealth. First things first, we're gonna head to Lexington. Word has it there's a pretty big operation of rival raiders down that way. Upon our arrival atop a roof, we noticed one of them, most likely just a scout guarding the perimeter. If she were to see us, she'll tip the entire damn gang off. We know what we have to do. One of our favorite pastimes. As we got rid of their filthy watchdogs around the perimeter of the city's entranceways, we made our way to the center and heart of Lexington itself. And it was there we found the Corvega plant, a pre-war vehicle factory. Pull up there, the rest of the raiders. The perfect place for a gang. God only knows how many resources are inside there to make pipe rifles and scrap armor. It would be perfect for us instead, but rumor has it they've been here for quite some time. No doubt they're really dug in deep. Well, guess we're just gonna have to go in and pry them out by their cold, dead feet, eh? That's normally how we like to operate anyhow. Besides, not only do we need to take the plant, but we have to make an example out of them. They're one of the largest raider gangs in the area. In the city of Lexington, they are the biggest gang. We have to make sure that everyone knows that we beat the absolute shit out of them, maybe tortured a few of them, and also blew the other one's brains out. You understand. We would quickly deal with most of their people on the roofs and out front, and then we started making our way out back. By this point, Cricket was feeling all sorts of frisky with these raiders, and I was putting old Sweet Lips to the test. That's what I call my double-barrel shotgun. Sorry. Looks like we've cleared out all the raiders out here, though. Time to go inside the plant. On the inside, things were a little bit different. We were in the lion's den at this point. We would have to be a lot more careful with how we proceeded. So I just started chucking Molotovs and shooting fellas in the head. You know, it kind of works out for me most of the time, and funny thing is, it ended up working out for me this time too. Eventually, I made my way to the top of the Corvega plant. And there he sat, a handsome, well-armored fella drinking an ice-cold beer. Yep, that's him. That's their king. Well, that was their king. What's left of him is lying over there now. As I'm sure you could surmise, the crew was none too tickled that I had just turned his head into a canoe from a good distance and they were trying to kill me now, along with their automated defenses. At one point, I ended up getting myself into a bit of a pickle. It looks like I'm pinned down. No way in, no way out. I'm gonna have to switch things up, I guess. Never mind. It would seem shooting my way out, the old tried and true strategy, worked after all. We had finally won. And best of all, the Corvega plant was ours. There was nobody left to contest my right to this place. Isn't that right, false Raider King Jared? Pay no mind to him. He's just being shy, I think. Cricket's got his tongue. No, like, for real. Now that the Corvega assembly plant is finally ours, that means that Lexington is finally ours as well, since it is the centralized stronghold of the entire city. Perhaps most importantly, we now control a massive portion of metallic resources in the region. And thanks to the mobile workshop, we'll actually be able to go throughout the plant and out around the plant in the streets, scrapping anything and everything we can get our hands on. Now, I know what you're saying. Why would you even bother yourself with such a thing? Well, my friends, we ended up using these resources to build our very own settlement here at the plant. If you thought we were just going to stay back at the capital, then you're a buffoon. When I said we were going to conquer the Commonwealth, I meant it. For now, our settlement here at the plant is going to be quite small, as we can only afford to send a handful of men, so they basically have a makeshift camp. But I feel that our people, as well as some automated turrets, should be able to hold down the fort sufficiently. Realistically, we only care about keeping the plant, not the entire city. And now that we've cleared out the largest gang in the city, there's nobody big enough to take it back from us. Obviously, this is a ginormous accomplishment, but it is a drop in the bucket for what we have planned. Come, let us continue our conquest. We would continue our travels due south, as we had heard of many other rival gangs and unorganized factions that need taking care of. During our travels, we would come upon a scavenger camp and or shop here in the infrastructure. Interestingly, this seemed to be some type of small business or startup here in the wasteland. These scavengers had a lot, and I do mean a lot, in their inventory. Crafting materials galore. Sure, we just took over the plant, and we have all sorts of metallics and whatever, but we could always take more. Besides, they have all sorts of weapons and ammo and everything and anything. Oodles upon oodles. And the coup de grace of it all, a set of scavenger power armor. Oh my. But they were asking far too steep of a price for it. What to do? Yes, Pet Cricket, I suppose that could work. Let's give it a shot at least. Hey there! Glad you're finally awake. Guess you passed out from all the excitement. Well, good news, the nice scavenger man and I came to an agreement. Yep, he sure drives a hard bargain, that's for sure. Yeah. Anyways, grab his feet for me, will you? Yep, pleasure doing business with you, pal. Alright, now that the party pooper's taken care of, let's get into this sweet, succulent scavenger power armor. Oh, wow. It's so much better than our own. I know they look similar, but it's kind of like the difference between a cheeseburger and a burger without cheese. Just not the same. Before we go, though, just one little thing. Alright, let's get a move on before any more scavengers come back. Uh-oh. Too late. Worst of all, it would appear that this is going to be a power armor v power armor. We decided to go fisticuffs as that was the fairest route of all. Thanks to my ally shooting them in the back with their laser pistol, we would end up winning the day. It would seem that the power of friendship has prevailed. Well, I suppose I don't mind having 2 sets of scavenger power armor, if you insist. As our journey continued throughout the infrastructure, we wouldn't encounter any more scavengers. It was much worse than that. We came upon yet another gunner encampment. It's been a hot minute since we fought any gunners, but if memory serves, they're normally pretty well armed and armored. And worst of all, given their current encampment, they have the upper hand. They're like a delicious little walnut hiding in their shell. Pet Cricket, unnamed raider companion, these types of missions normally require a certain sneaky type of je ne sais quoi. We would wait until dark, and then we would try to go in and maybe snipe a few people, that sort of thing, but I have a different idea. If you'll just stick with me here and allow me the creative freedom, eh? Oh yeah, works every time. I've never been let down by a mini nuke. Oh, editor's note here. I know it looks like I killed Pet Cricket, but he was fine. I actually didn't even notice. Anyway, though, using the rifle I got from the scavengers, I started lighting the damn place up like the 4th of July, and I really do mean it. God, I couldn't get enough of this bad boy. Little did I know. Yes, that's right. These gunners had their very own Assaultron, and even in power armor, needless to say, I was quite frightened of this pre-war machine that was designed to turn my insides into strawberry jam. I came dangerously close to getting liquefied inside this tin can, but one more little swing, and she was down for the count, thank God. Now with their secret weapon inoperable because of my great big metallic fist, all I had to do was go to the bottom and finish off the few gunners that remained. Once they were cleared out, this place was as good as ours. The gunners worked so hard on this place, it would just be so unfair of us to torch it all, or to scrap it all, or worst of all, leave it for other raiders to find. Yeah, no thanks. We called in some of our boys and girls from the capital, and needless to say, it looks like we have a new stronghold. It's no pre-war factory with oodles upon oodles of resources like the Corvega plant, but I suppose it will help us control trade in and out of this area with scavengers and others who always move through here, so better than nothing. Now that our conquest is off to a killer start, pun intended, I think it's time for us to head back home just for a little bit. As much as I love conquering the wasteland and slaughtering our enemies, nothing feels quite as warm and fuzzy as being home. First things first, putting our brand new power armor in a proper stand. We'll be working on that later. As for right now, I have something I'd like to show you. This, dear friends, is my office. Yes, yes, take it in all its glory. Unfortunately, my friends, being a Raider King isn't all bloodshed and glory. No, sometimes there's a bit of pencil pushing. Especially nowadays, we have to keep up with trade routes and shipments to the city and blah blah blah. Truth be told, though, I often get my best work done in this part of my office. And sometimes I like to get to work before the sun even rises, you know what I'm saying? Oh, come on. I'm literally a cold-blooded murderer. Alcoholism is the least of my problems. I just thought it might be cool to stop in, though, and show you some of the collectibles I'm adding to my office as we conquer the wasteland, like a bobblehead from the Corvega plant, as well as a nice model car. Oh, and also what was left of Jared's skull. You remember the false Raider King from the plant as well? I glued it back together. I couldn't find the top part, though. Oh, and last but not least, I found this axe along the way at some point. Doesn't it just give off a kingly, bow down or I'll murder you type of vibe? I think so too. Moving on though, an issue that we faced here at the city is the fact that many of our people were still wearing some shabby ass cloth and ragged clothing with pipe weaponry. This just will not do. If you want to be the best, then you have to be able to beat the best. And to do that, we're going to have to evolve past the shabby scrap metal armor and pipe weapons. As you can see, I started handing out some of the laser weaponry that we picked up in our travels, as well as some better Raider armor to everyone. Now this is much more befitting of the greatest Raider gang to ever bless the wasteland. Us, of course. Now then, our little murderous paradise, our capital city here, is up and coming and growing still more and more every day, and as such, we have a growing population. Yet we're running out of room where to put so many houses for everyone. Not to worry though, as I've built quite a large area for some slums. This is going to be a nice place for many of our newer and, less important raiders to stay. Example, perhaps you have a raider who's joined the gang and isn't exactly the best shot, isn't exactly good at doing anything, and they're more of a, say, expendable. this would be the perfect place. Unlike our glorified trailer park in the middle of the city, the slums are just barely hanging on by a thread, quite literally in some cases, as these shacks are putrid and disgusting. As you could guess, us recruiting other raiders into our ranks does mean that we're going to get quite a few people who might just so happen to be addicted to some harder substances. These slums are also a perfect place to keep some of those folks. It's basically a great big jet den where they can cook it up on their own and will be way too high to realize that they're all just cannon fodder. Not to worry though, we've really upped the security in this part of the city, and we can't just let these little ne'er-do-wells, these shifty and sneaky folks, be left to their own devices. They could cause an uprising to try to overthrow me, and I won't have anyone standing in the way of everything that I've built and everything that I'll be taking for my own. Now that we've taken care of some of the boring bureaucratic issues of the city and our empire, let's get back on the road. First things first though, before we leave, we need to start working on our new scavenger power armor. It looks good, but it could really use a little dollop of paint or two, don't you agree? Oh yeah, now this is more like it. I think red is such a good color because once we get gallons upon gallons of our enemy's blood all over it, we don't have to worry about washing it off. I haven't just been working on our power armor though, I've also been working on some of our weapons, like my minigun. As you can see, I've made more than a few upgrades to this bad bitch. And with that, let the conquest continue. We started making our way once more on the road, looking for rivals to butcher and to turn into mincemeat with my mighty axe. I'm sorry, do you hear something? Must have been the wind. Actually, it turns out it wasn't just the wind. It was a bunch of fools who were trying to shoot at me. I mean, have you seen me? Did you really think that was going to work? Now look at you. They appear to be guarding the entrance of some type of collapsed tunnel. Upon my arrival to this entranceway, there were no other raiders, though. On the contrary, there was an overabundance of feral ghouls. I think I'm starting to see why there were no other raiders in here. But as I would continue my journey through the tunnel system, and also after slaughtering many of these ghouls, I eventually did find one singular raider guarding the inside with a turret. I shot him in the head, and I destroyed his turret rather easily. It would seem, as of right now, these were the only defenses they had. Perhaps it's a new outpost they were trying to build. I would find yet another fusion core, though, and I could watch the little green sphincter turn gray. One of my favorite pastimes. Strangely, this tunnel led out right into some type of railway service station. I was quite confused as to where we were until I looked into the city's skyline and realized we were only a few feet away from being in the city limits of Boston, and thus the great green jewel of the Commonwealth, Diamond City. But on the outskirts, before you get to Diamond City's entrance, I noticed there seemed to be a fortified raider settlement. No doubt, these are the same band of fools who were trying to take over the tunnels. Well then, let's not waste any time, eh? Let's get this party started. First and foremost, I'd work on their automated defenses, and then I made my way to a rooftop so that I could take out a few more. Once their turrets were decommissioned, it was time to take on the raiders. Witnessing and heavily intimidated by my grand entrance from a rooftop, they were left shitting themselves, making them easy targets like shooting ducks in the water. After a few more mutilations, like a flash, it was already over. This settlement was completely cleared out and ripe for the taking. Our taking, that is. Obviously, we weren't clearing them out to save Diamond City. Quite the contrary, actually. Some of these areas, like the tunnel, I was hardly concerned with, but a nice settlement like this, quite literally just on the outskirts of the Green Jewel, oh, it was perfect. We immediately started setting up our own little makeshift camp and even brought down a handful of our people. We were going to populate this place a bit more than the other areas that we had taken over. The reason being, it's so, high traffic around these parts, if you know what I mean. I'm thinking that we might start robbing a few caravans coming in and out of the largest settlement this side of the Commonwealth. Maybe we grease the palms of the mayor. Word has it, he's already a bit of a shady fellow. And once we do that, he'll start turning a blind eye to a few missing caravans here and there. And just like that, we've already set ourselves up for yet another industrious takeover. One that will keep the flow of caps and resources into our greasy little palms for a very long time. But Boston's a big place, and there's a lot more areas for the taking. For example, this unoccupied super mutant camp. Well, there are super mutants here, but I mean unoccupied by anyone important. These lumbering green mutants are much stronger than average raiders. Oh, how I wish they were so intelligent that I could recruit some of them, but alas, I'll have to slaughter them along with all the folks down in Hangman's Alley. Places like this in Boston are a small pocket of raider chaos, and I absolutely love it. The only problem is I need my own raiders in here. You understand, right, fellas? You know what? Come to think of it, I don't really think it matters if you understand. And just like that, we've taken over Hangman's Alley and cleared out any of their super mutant enemies just a few feet away down the street. What we've done in one day, these poor fools couldn't do in years. Slowly but surely, we would end up shaping Hangman's Alley up properly. We didn't really have to do too much work, as they had already built plenty of little wooden huts for us to use after killing them. But we could fill it up quicker by using a settlement recruitment beacon, so that was cool. Just added to the ever-growing list of settlements now under my thumb. Speaking of, I think it's about time we added a few more settlements to that list. I found yet another raider gang here, a bit of a smaller one at some apartment buildings, and I started an immense slaughter that the likes of Boston had never seen before, and might never see again. I eventually found their leader going by the name of Clutter, hole up inside these apartments, and I cut her in half with my axe. She didn't know what to do when she came into contact with a real leader. Surprisingly, her followers were loyal till the very end. Such a shame I could use some of that with my own people, but alas. Once I finished off the folks here in the apartments, I stepped outside to begin finishing off some super mutants, as well as a few more other raiders that were holed up here in the alleyway. Every single place you turn around here, every crevice and corner seems to have mutants or a raider gang in it. My kind of place. Quite literally. Now, as this is my alleyway and my section of the city, so don't mind if I do. Yeah, you know, you get the gist. I set up yet another little camp here for my people to take this part of the city. I set up turrets, I set up some shacks and a fire, yada yada. Moving on, I kept picking up a radio broadcast on my Power Armors network about a Trinity tower. I eventually pinpointed the radio broadcast and located said tower. This big behemoth was no doubt chock full of super mutants. But strategically, this tower would give us a vantage point within the city like no other. We had to take it. I and my companions immediately began making our way up inside. The entire place was full of human meat and blood bags. Once we finally made our way to the higher levels, we began seeing our jolly green inhabitants, putting them down like the rabid mutts that they were. Killing these mutants was truly a piece of cake. The only problem that we were facing is that their blood and guts is really starting to gunk up all the joints of my power armor. We slaughtered our way to the main top of the tower, where we found their leader, going by the name of Fist and wielding a minigun. The dumb bastard had his back turned to me. What a foolish mistake. With my axe, I chipped away at his armor, and then with my fist, I finished the job. Now then, let's get the trash off my newly acquired roof. If you're waiting for him to hit the ground, you might be waiting a while. He had a couple prisoners up here, a human by the name of Rex Goodman, who we quickly freed, and also a super mutant going by the name of Strong, who seems to have some type of human-like intellect. Perhaps I'll have that super mutant raider after all.
If you'll excuse me, I think it's time I left this awful place.
Yes, I'll honor my promise.
Good. Strong travel with human.
I let Rex go because I have no use for a frail little broadcaster man, but Strong, on the other hand, I tricked him into joining us. I told him something about human milk or something. He was pretty eager. As for Trinity Tower, you already know that we've taken it for ourselves. Not only is it going to be a perfect vantage point, as mentioned and as we hoped, but also being able to broadcast our recruitment signals here? Oh, mama. It would seem that we're about to have a huge influx of recruits and manpower. With all these new Bostonian assets and territories under our belt and thumb, I think it's time that we head back to our capital at the farm. That way we can start managing things. First things first, though, we had to equip our new super mutant raider Strong here with some proper scrap metal armor and his very own minigun from his old captor. Looking good, my gigantic killing machine friendo, looking good. We've accomplished a lot today. We've taken a vast majority of Boston. We now have an overabundance of manpower trickling into our cause, an overabundance of caps and resources, but there is still the wider wasteland to take for ourselves. Settlements much like our farm city here that would otherwise be completely useless without our hostile takeovers. Emphasis on the hostile. And once we take them, then we have truly become a raider empire, and I can sit atop my throne here in the capital and look down upon it all with satiated eyes. As for right now, though, I'm starving for more.